Early care and education programs can help families be successful in breastfeeding by providing a supportive, welcoming environment. This segment of the module will examine strategies of a supportive childcare environment. The strategies on your slide are found on page 6 in the handout. As you review these strategies, you may notice that some of these practices apply to both breastfed and formula-fed infants. One strategy that applies to all infants is individual feeding plans. These plans support consistency between home and the early care education setting during the period of rapid change when infants are learning to eat new foods. Caregivers should consult with each family concerning the foods they have introduced at home and are feeding. In this way, a schedule of introducing foods can be followed and possible food allergies can be more easily identified. Other information to communicate with families includes instructing them on how to properly label and transport bottles. Proper labeling of bottles helps minimize the potential for feeding errors. Use smaller bottles, such as 4 ounce, to minimize waste. Suggest families bring frozen milk in 1 or 2 ounce serving sizes. Another simple strategy to support breastfeeding is posting supportive signage. Page 7 on your handout has several resources to download free breastfeeding posters for your program. Normalizing breastfeeding in your program is not limited to parents. Start with the children. Having housekeeping centers that support children playing family and books that talk about breastfeeding make it a normal part of life. In your handout on page 7, you will find a list of children's books that depict breastfeeding. Check at your local library for books through their teacher lending programs. As you think about providing resources for breastfeeding families, make sure your resources are useful and current. Include contact information for local resources, such as lactation consultants available through many local hospitals, your health departments and the WIC program, who has peer breastfeeding support groups that might be available in your region, such as La Leche League, and the regional breastfeeding coordinators through the WIC program. A very useful resource for mothers is your guide to breastfeeding from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office on Women's Health. This booklet is designed to support a breastfeeding mother and the challenges she may encounter as the baby grows. The link for this free resource is found at the top of page 7 in your handout. Consider placing a copy of this booklet in your breastfeeding space. There are a variety of breastfeeding resources available in Kentucky that vary by community. Find the reflective activity on the bottom of page 6 in your handout. Considering the strategies we've discussed that are listed at the top of your handout, consider how your program can incorporate these strategies to better support breastfeeding families. Select at least one strategy that you would like to see incorporated in your program and list it out. Consider what challenges you might have to implementing these strategies and, if possible, resources that would help you meet these challenges. Take a few moments to complete this activity. Having a quiet, private place for mothers to breastfeed or pump supports families in their feeding decisions. Additionally, this space can be used by employees in compliance with the Fair Labor Standards Act requirements to support breastfeeding staff members. Some mothers are comfortable breastfeeding in the classroom, but other mothers prefer a quiet, private space. This space might also be used to pump if an outlet and table are available. Some key components of your breastfeeding space are privacy, comfortable seating, and a quiet, relaxing environment. If your space is very limited, Simply welcoming and encouraging mothers to use rockers in the infant classroom to breastfeed can be supportive. Privacy curtains or screens might be an option in some spaces. Any breastfeeding space can be a marketing opportunity for your program as you are doing tours for new families. Find the reflective activity on page 8 in your handout. Identify a space in your program that could be used as a breastfeeding space. If your program already has a breastfeeding space, think about how you might improve the area. Take a few moments to respond to the question and identify items you would like to have included in the breastfeeding space.